Here's a story from the Post-Millennial. Canadian study worries about under-anticipated U.S. civil war. Ignores growing resentment at home. The potential for civil war is mentioned in the list of 8 under-anticipated disruptions that decision makers may need to consider more thoroughly than the survey results indicate. Ladies and gentlemen, foreign countries, okay, fine, it's Canada, so, take it for what it is, are concerned about a U.S. civil war. If you dig deep into the subterranean internet files of the Canadian government, you might find a link to Policy Horizons Canada, a group that you might surmise is attached to Global Affairs Canada, but no, it is affiliated with the Federal Public Service. I'm going to wag my finger at David in the Post-Millennial for writing a narrative story. Just tell me the news. The posting of a recent study titled Disruptions on the Horizon might have been missed by the public had an article not been posted to Politico declaring Canada's big worry, a U.S. civil war. Considering you guys are writing me a story, I'm actually going to go to Politico instead. Canada's big worry, a U.S. civil war. This is from just a few days ago. They say, and they also write a narrative. In a spring report titled Disruptions on the Horizon, a quiet office known as Policy Horizons Canada proposed American civil war as a scenario that Ottawa should consider preparing for. This hypothetical was tucked into the middle of a 37-page document, which sketched the possibility in 15 spare words. U.S. ideological divisions, democratic erosion, and domestic unrest escalate, plunging the country into civil war. Canada, they must watch the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they're saying if they're underprepared for it, I don't know if we've got our viewership in Canada going. I think that this is ridiculous.
No, I'm saying whoever wrote this must watch it.
Sure, but the Post-Millennial is saying they're saying it's underanticipated. I don't think
that's what they claim
on Timcast.
So I just want to point this out. Considering everyone says that I'm the guy who's always talking about civil war, that means anyone else who ever talks about it is a fan of the show.
Mm-hmm. That's a fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the fair. only explanation. So considering Canada has this concern, they go on to say, how seriously should people take this on the other side of the 49th parallel? Policy Horizons report surveyed hundreds of experts and government officials about disruptive events that Canada might do well to prepare for. Then the authors classed those scenarios based on the likelihood they will occur. American Civil War ranked as an improbable but ultra-high impact event. Other scenarios in that general category included the proliferation of homemade biological weapons, the rise of antibiotic-resistant pathogens leading to mass death and food shortages, and the outbreak of World War III. I suppose when you add them all together, it's looking like you got a really good probability of bad thing happening. So take your pick, and I hope you all are prepared.
I think it's weird that progressive governments and progressive political parties have to fearmonger their voters into supporting them. I think that's what I see over and over again. I was thinking about that with some of the speeches I was listening to from Biden or, on the campaign trail. And it's always just, you have to vote for us because everything's about to fall apart and we are the only ones who can fix it. And it's critical. In fact, it's so critical, it might even be too late. So you got to act now. It's like the craziest sales pitch of all time that is completely dependent on fear and compliance.
Because they can only run on fear and compliance because they don't have any success stories to build upon. I mean, to your point, Joe Biden, what could he run on in re-election other than, Trump's a threat to democracy. Vote for me to stop him. And that's all they got. He's accomplished nothing. Hyperinflation, destabilization of the world, we're entering World War III with, Russia and Cuba with their naval fleet now. There's nothing he can tout that he did other than destabilize the world and cause inflation and, cause a lot of people to leave the workforce because they couldn't even afford to live anymore. And, they paid them to stay home. They paid them not to work. And then they can't afford to go back to work anymore. It's just sad to see all this going on. And he can't do anything but say, vote for me because the other guy's the boogeyman. That's all they have.
Yeah.
Whether it be Trudeau, whether it be Biden, it's all the radical left has. Vote for me to stop the boogeyman.
Yeah. It makes you wonder when Trump is no longer eligible to run for office, if he serves a term and runs out of terms, what will they talk about?
Where's the off-ramp? That's what, Phil often says. Phil Labonte, he says, where's the off-ramp?
All that remains?
Of all that remains. Where's the off-ramp? With the ideological divisions happening in this country, with this election bubbling up, they're trying to put Trump in prison. Trump may very well end up in prison in only a matter of weeks. Where's the off-ramp? How does this country not devolve into, at the very least, starting off with collapse of the federal government?